all the time. That's
No, but what I think there should be. Why do you want to punish someone? What do you want to deter the person
for correction, of course.
for correction?
Yeah.
But then, if shouldn't there be a room for the person to have a rethink and then come back to society and then begin to even use his experience to teach people?
It depends on what the offense is, right? Now, let's talk. If you're a bad driver, they will take your license. They might even put you in prison. If you eventually make it out, we'll find ways to see how we can, reintegrate you with society and all of that. But there are situations where you might never be given a license again, depending on what your bad driving has led to. So if you are deterred, again, I'm not speaking for or against, I'm just saying there are some measures that would seem like a knockout punch that this person should never be able to, moving forward, do this or
That's
do
after
that.
doing it severally. Is that what you?
No. We're hoping it doesn't happen more than once. I mean, nobody wants to live through those horrors. But there are, in different parts of the world, right? There are crimes you commit and it's punishable by death. So mean that there is a finality to the punishment. It's not to learn. It is to rid society of people like you. So for situations like that.
No, but in this case, it's not. It doesn't happen. This finality, this death sentence, does not happen in many parts of the world. It's just basically been in Iran or something, So even at that, the world is going against it. So I mean, there should be a room for someone to. I still maintain my stand. There should be a room for someone to say, okay, look, I've given my life to Christ. I can now say, okay, let me begin to preach. Let me mount the pulpit and begin to convert souls. Based on my experience. Not look. You can't really say. The severity of the punishment can really deter. I think the more important thing, or the most important thing here is the certainty of that punishment. Look, we must begin to encourage parents to come up with evidence. We must find a way to encourage guidance to come up with evidence too, because that is the problem that the society have right now, where parents or even those who are involved do not agree to come up with evidence after this incident happened. That is where I think we should pay our attention to.
All right, after the break, we talk some more. Please stay with us. Sam Oracle Chinedu here, and my guest, Onyekachi Nwosu, journalist, news editor, and correspondent, Kuwazobia Info. Hello, Onyekachi.
Hello, Sam. Great to be here again.
Yes, indeed. All right, we talked about the Justice Berechi Wike advocating amputation for sex offenders. From there, we move on to the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, announcing Rivers State, of course, as one of the most viable states with the highest internally generated revenue in 2022. In the report, the NBS also listed Lagos and the Federal Capital Territory among the most viable with the highest internally generated revenue. In the report, Lagos generated 651 billion naira to top the list, followed by River State with 172 billion naira and the FCT with 124 billion. Meanwhile, the acting chairman of River State's Internal Revenue Service, Chiboso Aholu, has attributed the increase in the internally generated revenue of the state to infrastructural development in the state.
What we see simply to say that moral suasion, given the fact that taxpayers could see the value for their taxes, that in the past, if you're coming from Beirut, Kushi, and coming to town, it takes you quite a number of minutes, if not hours. But right now, in 10 minutes, from Mukushi, you're in town. And so, a man who works somewhere, maybe in Chitapina or somewhere in town, and then he finds it easy to come to a place of work now. I mean, whatever tax is paying, he's not grumbling, he's willing to allow the tax to be paid.
Now, IGR, which is internally generated revenue, is important for states because it allows them to fund their own development projects and programs, especially, of course, for River State, which has a large population. So second highest in Nigeria, or just second rather. Are we seeing the evidence? They say show walking. It's like you have a dad who has a regular job and then daddy's salary is now increased, from whatever he used to earn, and we're all celebrating. How can the kids tell beyond word of mouth? What evidence would show that true daddy's salary has been increased?
Okay, without sounding like the spokesperson for the government,
whenever someone starts a statement with that problem, go ahead.
Honestly, I mean, basically the 11 flyovers in River State is number one evidence. Okay. Infrastructural development, lots of things springing up across the city. So one can say that is an evidence that, look, the government has really channeled this money into the lives of the citizens. But again, for me, I'm taken aback at that report because just when that report came out, I think a few months before that report, we all understand that River State is 11th in the ease of doing business in Nigeria. That's the position of River State, 11th.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to look at the two, 11th and second IGR, because normally when I looked, I summarized everything. I looked at the report and I felt, okay, maybe this issue of sit at home in the South is somehow River State may be gaining a bit from it. People may decide to say, okay, let's move to Port Harcourt from Aba, from Onitsha, from Enugu. Let's set up something here in Port Harcourt, and then they start paying tax. It could also be one of the reasons why the IGR has gone up. But then, why are we 11th in the ease of doing business? I thought we should be fifth. When I say we, I mean River State should be fifth, or sort of. So that's where I now begin to ask myself, this NBC, should we not begin to question them? Should we not begin to ask questions? How do you churn out this report? What are those things that you put into place before this report come out? One of the things I also realized during the week is that, look, it looks like this issue of touts going to collect money from informal people, we don't hear it that much again. That may have also show up that IGR. So a lot of things around it.
So, well, I mean, normally whenever we get stats from the NBS, which is obviously always in the public domain, you want to question how did they get it. And one of the main things they do is they reach out to, I call them affiliate bodies, to get their data, do the analysis and all of that. Now, I think that the problem is from tax remittance, right? So the businesses are here. They very likely thrive. to generate the revenue, you have to collect the tax. I mean, tax is one of the highest forms, right? So let's say you have 10 businesses, for example, in River State. If you collect tax from all of them and you collect it right, it's easier to calculate how much we're making, where the money is going, and if it directly connects to development that we can see. But if out of the 10 businesses, you're only able to effectively tax, say, 5 or 6, the other 4, it's either, illegal window taxation, maybe some are not paying tax at all. The report about, 1, ease of doing business would be what it is. The reports about whether or not businesses are thriving will also be what it is. But how is the government now taxing these businesses? That's where the problem, will come. So if at the end of the day, the MBS is saying, oh, internally generated revenue, this is what River State got for this year. And then you, as the journalist, of course, you're doing your analysis. You're looking at the situation of things, of businesses in River State. You know what the complaints are. And you're trying to connect, how are we 11th here, but 2nd here? Where does the disconnect come from? You have to tell yourself it's an internal problem. It might not be from MBS. They have worked with the data provided to them, because the same way they gave us is how they got. So it's possible that inside the River State, the connection is not connecting. not from the MBS, which is the federal. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get your point. But the RS, the board here, the agency in charge of collecting tax, has come out to say, look, we've gone into digitization. There are ways to collect tax these days. It's not like what used to be manually. As an organization, you can sit in the comfort of your office and also pay your tax. Yeah. So that also maybe also aided all of this increase in
Has
the
it been
IGL.
fully implemented, Onyekachi? We still get complaints about roadside and people coming to shops and
yes, of course, we'll continue to get that complaint. But then the fact that they have started means they have started something. They've taken a step. There's a second step. There's a third step. Maybe they've taken just the first and the second step. We're waiting for them to take the third and the fourth step, most likely. All
right. Next story is for this week the biggest in Nigeria and possibly. In River State and possibly Nigeria. Missing Uniport student found dead in somebody's room. We'll get into that shortly, but we'd like to hear from you. We've talked about the MBS report stating that River State is one of the most viable states in Nigeria. We've also talked about Justice Eberichi advocating that sex offenders, especially those who defile minors, be amputated. Call us and tell us what you think, what you make of these stories. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. Please turn off your radio as you call. Hello, good morning. Good morning, what's your name? Morning.
Yeah, good morning to Wosu.
Good morning to you.
Morning, please go ahead. Good morning.
Yeah. Quando, good night, my dear.
All right.
On the suggestion by former First Lady of River State, I think, just like Obasanjo said some time ago, that the problem of this nation is not the two-time people, but the two-time. Now she is using for amputation for sexual offenders. What does the Nigerian Constitution, the Nigerian criminal law justice system say about people who engage in such crimes? I will tell you that the majority of people who engage in sexual crime don't even get a small punishment being applied by Nigerian law. And now another person is giving us another version of punishment. I think that the judiciary should do not every time they are talking, do this, do that. Even themselves, they will not even do it when it comes to their account.
All right.
For me, let's what the Constitution or Nigerian law to implement it first before people will be giving up here and there afterwards.
Thank you very much, Obina. Hello, good morning. Oh my. Call back if you can. 0817-923-0002. We're moving to our next topic shortly. 0817-923-0003. Please remember to turn off your radio as you call. Good morning.
Hello, Sam. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my interest is, my name is Fred.
Go ahead, Fred.
I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right.
My interest is the analysis, your guest, I greet you. Good morning. Well, the analysis is given in regards to former First Lady. It's okay by him. I think he should. For me, it would be better if we have paid for him as a person. But if I have to say, that recommendation, Sam, I totally back it. In fact, in politics, they say you have the candidate and then the upper people, the people that are Godfathers, anoint and all that and all that. So I anoint this recommendation, if I have to say that. Let the men that will sexually harass those minors, those children, any part of the body that they use to commit that crime should be cut off. Now, if you look at it in another angle, you will say we are trying to implement Sharia, part of Sharia laws here. I don't know if you can remember in part of the north, there are some offenses like this that you commit, and they either flog you or they amputate that part of the body that you use to commit that crime. So I totally recommend in support of our First Lady's recommendation on that offense. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning, the very distinguished How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, I salute you, but I'm not. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
I remember the very distinguished temple. Okay. Distinguished, permit me to say congratulations to our resource person, Dr. Gift One. It's a good one.
Not the time, not the place. Please go ahead. Straight to the point, please.
Yes, so I think I want to say, looking at what the wife of our former governor, Justice Suzette Eberechi said, I think it's a good one. That application will serve as a deterrent to other persons who want one way or the other want to engage in such kind of crime. But I think also for those persons that will come up with false accusation and false alarm, the same punishment should also be meted to them. Because when you look at people who come up with false alarm, it says somebody that is also calculating to kill someone, intentionally. And for me, it is not a good one. So that those persons who might engage in trying to get at somebody by raising false alarm, or because of something that is not real, they can also tread with caution at the end of the day. Very fully aware that whenever you are pushing the cause, you must come up with facts and evidence. Not a situation of thinking that you can get something by emotions or by empathy. That is my opinion.
All right, thank you very much, Temple. Over to Facebook. Now we are live on Facebook, Twitter, and I believe YouTube, so you can watch as you listen. Udo Ekong or Kuku on Facebook says, punishment for crime has several purposes: deterrence, reformation, and retribution. Most of the time we omit to consider the effect of the crime on the victim. A minor who has been defiled will live with a horrific memory for life. It will send her permanently. What happens to her? Amputation is not therefore a bad idea if you look at it from the perspective of the victim. And I believe this is why we have the law, because it is supposed to create a balance. You look at it from every possible side. But actually, one of the biggest problems connected to sexual offenses is the difficulty to prove. It is really hard. And you have a lot of people say, if you're making reports, please, as quickly as possible. Now imagine a person who comes out 5, 10, 15 years after the act to say, oh, in 1992, I was. It's going to be very close to impossible. So while we're grappling with what the right punishment will be, we also have to consider, like you said, parents, family members who might, want to cover up and all of that, and how it would affect all of this.
Particularly in our society, Sam, you hardly will see, people, victim come out after many years and then get justice.
Yeah.
You hear that in other climes. You don't often hear it here.
Oh, I don't know if I should say our judiciary is evolving, but we're here for the growth, and we're hoping it leads to the promised land. The family of the late Uniport female student, Justina Otwene, is calling for justice after she was allegedly killed by her boyfriend, Osaz Awaji. The older brother to the late Justina says the family is devastated by the news of her death. Speaking to newsmen at the police headquarters, Osaz, who is also a 500-level chemical engineering student at Uniport, said his late sister just turned 21.
On one case, we got a call from someone that said a dead body has been reported to Uzoba police station, that we should go to the station. So I reported to the IPO at Minokoro police station. We reported to the commander. The commander gave the IPO a go-ahead. So all of us went to the Uzoba police station and they met the officer there. The officer confirmed that the person in the picture that we went there was the person that was killed. I need justice. The person, the guy that did it should pay. He should pay for it. And everybody that was involved, because definitely he was not the only one that was involved in the whole thing. So justice is what we need.
Well, management of Uniport says it will not rest until justice is done in the matter. The Dean Student Affairs, Chima Okocha, said this during an interview with correspondent Martha Okering-Kem shortly after he and the Vice Chancellor of Uniport, Professor George Will Onwunari, paid a visit to the police station where the suspect was being held. And Mr. Okocha said the school is embarrassed by the act.
I want to assure you that the university will not try to stop the process of law. And the university is also worried about its image with this kind of incidents. And the Vice Chancellor insisted that justice must be done because there is no student here who has the right to kill or get physical with anybody. It's wrong. The punishment for fighting or getting physical in university is outright expulsion. And in the university also, through the Vice Chancellor, has told the police to do everything possible to unravel the mystery surrounding in the death of this very promising young lady.
Some residents of Port Harcourt also called for justice.
That is evil. So that kind of person not supposed to be among us in our society.
For young girls, I will advise them to mellow down, to be under their parents. Anything they want, they should ask their parents.
Parents have to take care of their children, especially the female ones.
Please, supposed to be a lesson to other girls for them to concentrate and focus for the benefit of their family.
The country where we dey now don't they corrupt, so nobody to blame. The girl don't fall victim of circumstances. Girl we don't reach 300 levels. She sad or she know what is good and bad.
From the police has been policemen stationed around the house of Damian Okoligwe, our correspondent who visited the apartment off NTA Road in Port Harcourt, observed uneasy calm around the area. Some of the people there refused to speak to our correspondent. Our correspondent also gathered that the suspected killer recently moved into the building which was opened last weekend. What kind of problem? I just imagine being a neighbor and I'm like, which kind? Meanwhile, the police have paraded the suspect for allegedly killing his girlfriend at his residence along NTA Road. The River State Commissioner of Police, Emeka Nwoyi, said Damien is a 24-year-old 400-level petrochemical engineering student at Uniport. CP Emeka said the dismembered body of the late Justina has been deposited in the mortuary.
On Wednesday, 25th of October 2023, operatives of Ozuba Division received a complaint from a good Samaritan and a neighbor. Came to report that he went to his house where one Damian Okoligwe, a fellow tenant, and perceived a very bad odor and immediately rushed to the police station where the DPO led detective to the scene. On arrival, the door was forcefully opened and the Ghana must go bag containing a lifeless body was recovered. And the boyfriend of the victim, also an occupant of the house, the prime suspect, was arrested for an inquiry.
The police commissioner expressed suspicion that the suspect's intent was for ritual. And finally, the suspect, Damien, has denied having a hand in her death, even though police said her body was dismembered and vital organs removed. He claimed that they slept and he woke up to see her dead.
I was trying to get rid of her body because I was thinking in my head that if I report this thing now, that I will surely be blamed for everything that is going on. So I was trying to wrap her body and then get rid of the body, which was very wrong of me to do. As I came back on that Wednesday to come and wrap her body, that was the Wednesday that the whole police issue came about. I took the wheelbarrow from the security guy because I wanted to use the wheelbarrow to dispose the body.
I catch you. I don't know how to coin the question, but I have a question. So just read.
I don't know how to answer.
Read my mind and just answer what you think I want to ask, because I know I don't know. There's just too much.
Honestly, Sam, I don't know how to even answer whatever question you have in your mind. So not talk of reading your mind. When this news broke, my mind just flashed back to my 6-year-old daughter. Like, if I was in this shoe, what would I do? A lot of things, as you were just talking, a lot of things keep coming to my mind. What about the mom of this girl? How are they feeling? How are the parents, the siblings? What's happening in their mind right now? What's playing through in their mind? I really can. I just wish that the society will ensure that this person is made to face the law. I just wish that this person doesn't bypass the law by any means necessary, because there are stories around it, stories around the corner that we hear when we get to the field, that look, this is happening, this is playing out. And when you listen to the guy speak there, you just know he avoided something. And that statement will be an evidence in court. That recording, of course, when the proceeding starts in court, it will serve as one of the evidence, one of the whatever the judge will request for. So that guy deliberately and cleverly avoided something there. Whereas the lawyers will have their days in court. But then I just pray that, look, we'll follow through with this case, and then the Nigerians will know exactly how this case will end. Really, I don't know how much more I can go with this, because it breaks one heart to see a 20-year-old girl, a very, very beautiful lady. I don't know if you saw that lady's picture.
Yeah.
Her body dismembered, and then right now, as we speak, she's being kept deposited at the morgue. It's troubling. It's heartbreaking. There are just no right word to describe this, this situation here. So,
before we get to the regular courts, there is the court of public opinion, and the channel to know the thoughts of that court in this day and age is social media. You get to know what a lot of people are thinking. And when things happen and I read what people post, I always in my head say, oh, these are not professional. These are people responding from an emotional standpoint. Because there was a lot of victim blaming. And one of the many problems is you and I have very likely seen too many TV series, crime, thriller, investigative, where at the beginning of the episode, there's somebody with a knife, or, the evidence is pointing in this direction. When investigation happens, by the end of that episode, you now see that the person who everybody thought was a suspect is innocent. I have in my head, Onyekachi, try to paint as many pictures where this guy will end up innocent. Of course, the court's investigation and all of that, it's very difficult. It's hard, even by the most creative, by no matter how creative, maybe the guy just it just did not click. And I'm thinking, while you might want to ignore what the public is saying and leave it for the professionals, there are situations where the public they're also making very valid points. Now, somebody was pointing out, a colleague here, do you see how he was speaking? How this guy was, he didn't even show remorse. And I said, listen, I know that people have different ways of, reacting to, he mustn't break down and cry. If he's composed while speaking, it is not evidence that he did or didn't. I said, no, look at his eye, the way he was doing the, you want to dismiss those things, but the next time you see the video, you're not trying to notice what this person is. And I don't know, oh my goodness, where do people find, whoever did it, where do you find the do I call it guts, the inhumanity to
kill? I mean, to kill first. Let's even start with killing somebody.
I cannot kill chicken, See, till tomorrow, if you meet my dad, this is one of the things he would tease me about. Say, look at you. And then he will go ahead and kill. So to cut oh Lord, I don't,
the guy, but Sam, there's a part to this story.
Mm-hmm.
The guy moved into the apartment.
Yeah.
I think we should take this story a little bit further and ask landlord association if they still exist here in Rivers State. I mean, when he moved in, what did they do a background check of him? Did they ask him, what do you do for a living? In that interview, he said he's into betting. That's what he said in one of the interviews. I'm not sure we'll capture that clip here, but I heard that elsewhere, that he's into betting. I mean, and you're a student. I mean, can we ask? I mean, all of these questions, background questions, are important. I think that this conversation should go further.
We have a break. We'll be back. Please stay with us.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Has upheld the victory of President Bola Tinubu in the February 25 presidential election. As you can tell, there are lots of reactions to this. The PDP, President Tinubu himself has hailed the judgment of the Supreme Court affirming his election as the president. The PDP says that the verdict is disappointing. Labour Party says the judiciary has failed to defend the people's voices, and Nigerians, well, there are dissenting views. Some are for, others are against. But lots of reactions to this one verdict. Ekachi, very quickly, what is your take?
There's need for us to amend our constitution. I mean, that's the end of it for this particular situation. But then looking ahead, looking forward, there's need for us to make some amendments in our constitution so that we know exactly that Abuja is like Lagos State, is like Rivers State.
Okay.
There's no 25% anywhere.
Because that was a controversy. It was about whether or not, what exactly is Abuja. We started asking.
It was in its constitution, section 135 of the constitution, correct, yes. But I don't know what the Supreme Court judges meant by their decision.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ekachi, for your time. It's always a pleasure, honor, and privilege sharing space with you right here on the front page.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Please understand that I will still disturb you in the future.
I'm available, Sam. Thank you.
All right, and that's it on today's episode of The Front Page. Join us next Saturday at 8 a.m. to catch the updates of the biggest stories making headlines. I'm Sam Oracle Chinedu. News around the world happens now. Please stay with us.